All right, buckle up, because today we're diving into a place you might not have heard of, Panipat.
Panipat.
Now, I know what you're thinking, Panipat. Where's that?
Yeah.
And why should I care? But trust me, this place is a total hidden gem of history.
Okay.
It's less about the city itself and more about its location. Imagine Panipat as this crucial gateway to Delhi, a choke point that's seen empires clash for centuries.
Oh, I see.
And get this, we're not talking about just one epic battle.
No.
Oh, no. We're diving into 3 massive showdowns that all happened right there in Panipat.
Wow, 3.
3.
Okay.
Oh.
What's fascinating is how these battles spread out over hundreds of years, each mark a major turning point in Indian history.
Exactly.
Like, if you rewind and fast forward through India's story, you'll keep hitting the play button on Panipat to understand the power shifts.
Exactly. So if you're into military history, the evolution of warfare, or just how empires rise and fall, this one's for you. We're talking game changers like gunpowder artillery, cunning tactics, and those what-if moments that make you realize just how unpredictable history can be.
And when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, Panipat becomes this powerful symbol of how geography shapes history.
Right.
It's not just about the armies involved, but who controls those vital routes, the resources, and ultimately who gets to rule Delhi.
Okay, so let's fire up the time machine and head back to 1526 for the first Battle of Panipat.
All right.
Picture this. You've got the Delhi Sultanate barely hanging on under Ibrahim Lodi. He's got a massive army, war elephants, the whole shebang.
Oh, shebang.
But then Babur comes storming in from the north, a descendant of Genghis Khan and Timur,
Wow.
with ambition in his veins.
And here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Babur brings something. Lodi doesn't have gunpowder artillery. Now, cannons were still relatively new to warfare, but Babur was a master at using them.
Yeah?
Not only that, he was a total innovator when it came to battle tactics.
Right.
He really understood how to use this new technology to his advantage.
Right. It wasn't just about having the cannons. It was about knowing how to use them.
Right.
Like, have you ever heard of the Tuluma and Aroba formations?
Tuluma and Aroba.
They sound intense.
Oh, they were brilliant strategies for their time.
Okay.
Tuluma essentially meant dividing your forces into these super mobile units, left, right, and center, so you could encircle the enemy.
Okay.
Then you have the Araba tactic, which involved using rows of ox carts chained together, creating this defensive wall.
Right.
And what was hiding behind this wall?
I don't know.
You guessed it, cannons, all prepped and ready to fire.
So it was like a 16th century tank line. And imagine you're a soldier on Lodi's side, facing this seemingly impenetrable wall of carts.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, boom, cannon fire erupts from behind them,
Oh my gosh.
causing chaos and destruction in your ranks.
Yeah.
And those cannons weren't just damaging, they were terrifying.
Right.
Lodi's war elephants, completely freaked out by the noise and the chaos, ended up trampling their own troops.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Exactly. But what's really interesting is that even though Babur won decisively, sources suggest that if the battle had gone on longer,
Yeah.
Lodi might have had a chance.
Really?
Babur's army was actually smaller and his troops were getting tired.
Okay.
It's a great example of how history is full of those what-ifs.
Yeah.
Even the most pivotal events could have gone in a completely different direction.
It really makes you think about how much we take for granted when we look back at history. Like, everything was destined to happen a certain way.
Yeah.
So Babur wins, establishes the Mughal Empire, and things are relatively calm for a few decades.
Right.
But then, fast forward to 1556, the Second Battle of Panipat, and the drama really ramps up.
Okay, the Second Battle of Panipat. This time, it's a powerful Hindu king named Himu who had actually managed to capture Delhi,
Oh, wow.
challenging the young Mughal emperor, Akbar.
Akbar.
But here's the twist. Akbar wasn't even at the battle.
Hold on. A 13-year-old emperor leading his army.
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
Akbar was miles away, being guarded for his safety.
Right.
This actually highlights how important regents and advisors were in history, something we often overlook. In this case, Akbar's regent, Behram Khan, was the one calling the shots.
Ah, okay.
But back on the battlefield,
Yeah.
Himu was actually winning.
What?
He had this massive army with 1,500 war elephants.
Wow.
And things weren't looking good for the Mughals.
Okay, so how did a 13-year-old's army win if he wasn't even there?
It's a pretty wild story.
Oh.
Himu was leading from atop his elephant, which was a classic war elephant strategy.
Right.
But then, in a crazy twist of fate, an arrow hit him right in the eye.
Oh, my God.
And he was basically knocked out of commission.
Oh, no.
His army fell apart without their leader, and the Mughals seized the opportunity, eventually winning the battle.
Wow, that's a dramatic turn of events.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how one seemingly small event can have a massive ripple effect in history. It also makes you think, if Himu hadn't been hit, would the outcome have been different? How important is it to have a leader physically present on the battlefield?
That's a great question, and one historians still debate.
Yeah.
Was it Himu's accents that led to his army's collapse, or was it the quick thinking of Akbar's generals that secured the win?
It's hard to say for sure.
Right.
But what we do know is that this Mughal victory solidified their rule and really set the stage for Akbar's long and influential reign.
So from cannons to chance encounters, we've seen how technology and even luck can play a huge role in shaping the course of events.
Absolutely.
But our journey through Panipat isn't over yet.
No.
There's one more battle to explore, and it's a game changer.
Okay.
Fast forward to 1761, the Third Battle of Panipat.
1761.
By now, the Mughal Empire is a shadow of its former self, and a new force has emerged on the scene.
Okay.
The Maratha Empire.
The Maratha Empire.
They're a powerful group, but they're about to face a formidable challenge coming in from the northwest.
From the northwest. Okay, so new players on the field, new power dynamics.
Right.
Who are the Marathas up against this time?
Their main opponent is Ahmad Shah Durrani,
Ahmad Shah Durrani.
the ruler of the Afghan Durrani Empire.
Okay.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
But it's not as simple as just two sides clashing.
No.
There's this whole web of alliances involved, which makes things even more interesting.
All right.
Durrani has teamed up with the Rohilla Afghans, who already control territory in the region.
Okay.
And crucially, he's also secured the support of Shuja Dola, the Nawab of Oot.
Ah, alliances, always shaking things up.
Right.
It reminds me of that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
But why would Shuja side with Durrani? It seems like a strange pairing at first glance.
It all comes down to strategy and self-preservation. You see, Shuja saw the Marathas as a growing threat,
Right.
possibly even more dangerous than the Afghans.
Yeah.
By joining forces with Durrani, he was essentially choosing the lesser of two evils,
Yeah.
hoping to protect his own power base in the process.
I see.
It's a classic example of how political maneuvering can be just as important as military might.
It's like a giant game of chess, with everyone trying to make the best move to secure their position.
Exactly.
But let's talk about the battle itself.
Okay.
What happened at Panipat this time around?
Well, unlike the previous battles, which were more like head-on clashes, the Third Battle of Panipat was a long and grueling siege.
A siege.
The Marathas found themselves trapped in Panipat, with Durrani's forces cutting off their supply lines.
Oh, wow.
This was a brutal but effective tactic.
Yeah.
Starve your enemy into submission.
Right.
And it worked.
It's a reminder that logistics and supplies are just as vital as what happens on the battlefield.
Absolutely.
An army can't fight on an empty stomach, right?
Exactly.
Look at them.
The Marathas were running desperately low on food, their animals were dying, and morale was plummeting.
Oh, gosh.
Imagine you're a Maratha soldier trapped within the city walls.
Yeah.
You're hungry, exhausted, and watching your comrades succumb to starvation.
Yeah.
Reports from January even mentioned soldiers dying from lack of food.
Oh, wow.
It was a desperate situation.
So what happened? Did they just surrender?
They tried to break the siege.
I did.
The Maratha commander, Sadashiv Rao Bao,
No.
knew they couldn't just sit there and wait to be starved out.
Right.
So, in a last-ditch effort, he decided to launch a final all-out attack.
Oh, wow.
It was a desperate gamble,
Yeah.
but they really didn't have any other choice.
A last stand that must have been intense.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
The Third Battle of Panipat raged on for days, with over 125,000 troops involved.
Wow.
The casualties were horrific, with tens of thousands killed in the fighting alone.
Oh, my God.
Imagine the sheer scale of this clash.
Yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of soldiers locked in a desperate struggle for survival.
It's crazy.
Even those who weren't killed in the fighting faced a grim fate, either being taken prisoner or dying later from wounds or disease. In the end, Durrani and his allies emerged victorious, handing the Maratha Empire a crushing defeat.
It sounds like this wasn't just a military loss for the Marathas.
No.
This was a turning point with long-lasting consequences.
It was.
It must have really shaken things up in the region.
Absolutely. While the Maratha Empire didn't disappear entirely, this defeat shattered their dreams of expanding north.
Right.
They were thrown into chaos for a decade, and the balance of power in India shifted dramatically.
Wow.
The Third Battle of Panipat really marked the end of an era.
Yeah.
It's a chilling reminder of how quickly fortunes can change, and how even the most powerful empires can be brought to their knees.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
3 battles,
Yeah.
3 different outcomes.
Right.
And it all happened in this one spot.
Yeah.
Panipat.
Panipat.
What started as this unfamiliar name now seems like a pivotal location.
Yeah.
This crossroads where history was written and rewritten.
It really highlights how geography can shape destiny, especially when it comes to empires. Panipat was this unavoidable crossroads, a place where ambitions clashed, and the stakes were incredibly high.
It's like watching this epic saga play out in the same spot,
Right.
but across different centuries.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what other Panipats are out there in history, places where geography and conflict are so intertwined.
That's a thought-provoking question for you to consider.
Mm.
What other locations have served as these crucial battlegrounds that change the course of history?
Right.
And maybe even more importantly, what lessons can we learn from these conflicts today?
Because sometimes understanding the past can help us navigate the present, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
By studying these battles, their causes, and their consequences, we can gain valuable insights into the things that drive human conflict.
Right.
The impact of technology on warfare and the importance of strategic thinking, even today.
So there you have it.
There you have it.
We've taken a deep dive into the battles of Panipat,
Yes.
a story of empires, ambition, and the undeniable influence of geography. Hopefully, this journey through history has given you a newfound appreciation for this often overlooked but incredibly significant corner of the world.
And who knows, maybe this will spark your curiosity to explore other pivotal moments in history, those events that have shaped the world we live in today.
Keep those brains buzzing, everyone, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.